to ChiroSecure's Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the Facebook Live show for successful women by successful women, proving once again women make it happen. Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. Now join today's host, Dr. Cathy Wendland-Colby, as she talks leadership, community, and juggling it all. And now, here's Dr. Cathy.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. I'm this week's host, Dr. Cathy Wendland, and this week we are going to jump right in because during this great pause, so many of us have kind of stepped back. And I think it's important at times to step back to help you move forward. It's kind of like if you've ever shot a bow and arrow, you have to draw that string back before you can release the arrow forward. And sometimes life does that to you. Sometimes you have to step way back in order to be catapulted forward. So let's talk about that right now, because during these last few months of this great pause, some of you have seen your practices be closed by state regulations. Some of you have seen your practice numbers drop. Some of you have had patients disappear off the face of the earth because they're not coming out until the world says it's safe again. And some of you have had patients come in with questions or with concerns, or call your office with questions and concerns, or post things on your social media that maybe didn't exactly jive with you. And you have had the opportunity during this great pause to maybe reflect on things or think about things, or think about how you view the world. Educate your community on what health is and where health comes from, or take time to sit with your own family and reinforce your foundational principles. I will tell you, there was a day where the churches opened back up in our community, and I was so excited to take my children to church, and we got up early and they had a friend stay over that wanted to come to church with us, and we drove there and we pulled into the parking lot and we were met by guards. And the guards handed us papers that explained all the policies and protocols in order to go into our church. And they said to us, well, remember to wear your masks. And I said, well, we don't wear masks. Well, I don't think you can come in, but go ahead and park. We parked, we get out of the truck, we're met at the truck by two more guards saying, don't forget to grab your masks. And I said, we don't wear masks. This is a church. And they said, well, you can try going in, but I'm not sure you'll get in. We walked to the front of the church and we are stopped again by guards saying, here's the policy, you have to wear a mask. And I said, that was nowhere on the website. It was nowhere in the email. We're not wearing a mask. We don't subscribe to that line of thinking, that line of thought. And we were delayed until somebody finally came out and said, Father Larry is in there crying. He doesn't believe in wearing the masks. He's against it. The Archbishop is requiring it. Can you just put the mask on to walk inside and take it off when you get in there? And I looked at my children and I looked at the man and I said, no, because that would be teaching my children that they should do whatever it takes to get in the in crowd, that they should do something that goes against their beliefs and goes against their thoughts and goes against who they hold themselves to be in order to get something. And I can't do that. And so whether your state regulations require you wear them in your office or not, I understand you've got to do what you've got to do. But this was a place that shouldn't have had that thought. And this was a place that didn't have a requirement, and we don't have that requirement in our state. And so in that moment of time, I had to step back in order to move forward. And I had to step back and stand on my principles and say, do I now in this moment teach my children something different than I've taught them all along? just to get inside of some place where we want to go? Or do I hold true? And so sometimes in life, I think that you have to find the time to carve time out for yourself and say, what is it that really matters to me in my personal life, in my family life, in my relationships, in my business, in my community networking? What truly matters to me? What is the impact that you want to have on your community? And what is the impact that you want to have on your patients? What is the legacy you want to leave through your patients? What conversation do you want your patient leaving your office and having with their family, their friends, and their coworkers? Do you want them to say, well, my chiropractor said X, Y, and Z, or do you want them to say, my chiropractor said A, B, C? Now you get to decide what those conversations are based on what you choose to bring into your office. And I think sometimes, especially during this great pause, this is the perfect opportunity to step back, think about it. What is the message that I truly want to share? Excuse me, in this time of great concern, in this time of massive media propaganda, in this time of mass confusion, in this time period where people are starting to fight with other people about, let's think about this. You're not protecting me, you're being selfish. When have we heard this argument before in our society when it comes to health? We've heard it with the vaccine issue. Now we hear it with the mask issue. So I'm just saying that sometimes we have to think about what truly matters to us. What fight are we willing to stand for? What principle are we standing on? And what are we teaching the little eyes that are watching us by our actions? So step back, carve out time for yourself where you sit down with yourself and you get honest. And sometimes being honest with yourself is way harder than being honest with other people, because it's easy to say to someone, I go to the gym 3 times a day and take care of myself, and I do all this great stuff, and I work out and I eat right and I get enough sleep. But when you're honest with yourself and you check your Fitbit or you check your Apple Watch and you go, 3.5 hours of sleep last night, maybe I didn't quite get enough, right? It's so easy to have the persona and have the image that you put out to the public, but you actually sometimes have to do the hard work of getting serious with yourself in front of that mirror and being naked and honest and truthful. And sometimes that's a matter of saying, am I doing right now what really makes my heart happy? Am I committing my time, my energy, and my resources to things that truly bring me joy? Or am I just going about the day-to-day grind because I have to, because I think I have to, because I think I'm stuck, because I think this is the only pathway that is there for me? Or can I carve out a new path? Can I look at my life and say, this is great, but this great pause has given me the opportunity to say, maybe there's something better. Maybe there's something just a tweak different. Maybe I can change 1 degree. And if you ever change 1 degree to cross your room doesn't make a difference. 1 degree in a curvature in somebody's spine doesn't make that much of a difference. But 1 degree across a year, or 1 degree across a state, or 1 degree across the ocean makes a huge difference. So what if you look at your life and say, I like where I'm heading, but this 1 degree of change might make the difference that makes my life more fulfilling, that makes my life more extraordinary, that makes my life more meaningful, or allows me to create a bigger impact, or creates the legacy through my children, through my community, through my patients, through my team that I was trying to create. So when you take that time, and there's been no better time in your life than the great pause to do it. When you take that time to really sit back and sit honestly with yourself, that's the time where you get to say, how can I make things better? Because I will tell you this, I don't want to go back to normal. I'm not interested in going back to normal, because normal was, but there's a new normal that is. And I want to create a new normal. And I know that you do too. I don't want my patients going back to normal. I don't want my team going back to normal, because 4 months ago, normal is something you were complaining about. 4.5 months ago, normal was something that you were tired of. 5 months ago, normal was something that you were thinking about leaving. So now, here and now, in the present moment, as we create the new normal, let's not go back to what was comfortable. Let's not go back to what we knew. Let's not be so afraid that we think what we had in the past was good enough when in reality back then it wasn't, right? Because that fear is going to trick your mind and make you think, oh, if we could just get back to normal. We don't need to get back to normal. We can be the pioneers that create the new normal, that our community looks at us and goes, wow, that's a leader. That's a lighthouse. I'm going to follow that light. I'm going to follow that leader. I'm going to do what they're doing because I like the results that they're getting. They could look at your family and say, that's what I want for my family. They could look at the way you live your life and say, that's what I want for my life. They could look at how you speak and how you lead and how you carry yourself and say, that's the model that I want to follow. And you have that opportunity right now. Listen, you've had it every day. You've had it every day of your life, but you have it more now because now is the time that you can really stop and sharpen your axe. And if you've never heard me explain that before, let me tell you something. You have been chopping wood all your life. You chopped wood when you went through high school. You chopped wood when you went through undergrad. You chopped wood like crazy while you were going through chiropractic school, and you were chopping wood like insane people while you were going through your boards and your OSCEs and all of your testing and all of your graduation procedures. And you chopped wood like a lunatic while you were setting up your practice and building your practice and getting involved in the community, and you were networking and you were getting to know people and you were writing articles and blogs and whatever you did to build your practice. You were chopping wood as hard and as fast as you possibly could. And you got to a point where you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired, but I can't stop. I'm so tired, but I can't stop. I'm so tired, but I have to keep going. And you kept chopping wood even when you were tired and even when your axe started to get dull. And the more you kept chopping wood with that dull axe, the less effective you were. That dull axe made you work twice as hard to get half the results, but you kept chopping. I know, I did it too. You kept chopping. I can't stop. I can't take a break. I can't pause. I got to keep going. I got to keep working. I got bills and I got staff and I got student loans and I got I got food to buy and I got mouths to feed. And you just kept chopping because the pressure was on and you felt like you were stuck and you felt like you had no other option. And sometimes you work yourself so hard with diminishing returns. You know what I'm talking about? Because as a woman, I know you've been there. You juggled the hats between mom and office and wife and run the business and take care of the patients and take care of the finances and train the staff and worry about the insurance companies and deal with the car accident patients and marketing and getting involved in my community and giving back to the profession. You've been there. I've been there. I know. And you just kept chopping wood. And the more you chopped wood, the duller your axe got, the less effective your work was. But you thought you couldn't stop. And the great pause came along 3 or 4 months ago to tell you, cancel all of your plans. Every speaking engagement you have, done. Every seminar you're going to, cancel. Every plane trip you were going to take, sorry. Every vacation you had, sayonara, see you next year. And when the great pause came, it was an opportunity, and I hope you took it, to sit down, relax, and sharpen your axe. And when you sit down, you relax and you sharpen your axe and you get clear. You get crisp. You make a nice solid blade with a strong point on the end that says, I know what my purpose is. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm clear on why I'm doing it. I know that I want to do it. I want to do it better. I want to do it faster. I want to do it more effectively. I know why I do what I do, and I have a vision and I have a mission and I have a purpose, and you hone that axe and you sharpen that axe and you get that blade so razor sharp, and you take this time to pause. You take this time to sharpen that axe. You take the time to take the rest that you need. You take the time to carve out time for yourself and say, what is it I want? What is it I want to do? Where do I want to be? What impact do I want to make? Who do I want to contact? Who do I want to affect? Who do I want to work for, work with, work through? What is it that I want to do? When you sharpen that axe and you come back to chopping wood, I promise you, your swings will be so much more effective because you have rested, your blade is sharp, that now when you chop that axe, you're going to split wood. You're going to do exactly what it is you set out to do in the first place, with more precision and more focus, more determination, better results, better outcomes. You are going to absolutely hit the nail on the head. You're going to get it exactly where you want it. You're going to make sure that every step that you take from this moment on is absolutely in line with your vision, your mission, your purpose, your reason for being, and you're not going to let anything get in the way, and you're not going to feel stuck, and you're not going to do things just because that's how they used to be, and you're not going to go back to the old normal, and you're not going to start doing things that don't serve you or your patients or your family or your community or your pocketbook. You're going to do things that absolutely matter to you, because when you take the time to step back, you'll know when it's time to jump back in, right? If you've ever wanted to jump off of a cliff into the ocean, you sat there and you watched the waves come in and go out and come in and go out and come in and go out. And you sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait until you know that the time is right, because you've been watching them and you know, bam, now's the time to go. That's what the great pause can do for you if you allow it. So I suggest, recommend, invite you to step back, sit down, catch your breath, figure out who you are and what truly matters to you, sharpen that axe, get clear on why we do what we do so that you can do it better with greater results and affect more people in the long run. I invite you to do that during this great pause so that you, me, us, all of us collectively can have a much bigger impact through this beautiful gift that we have called chiropractic, so that we can start to lead and change the world from a natural, effective mindset that stands solid on our principle, stands solid on our philosophy, and says the body needs no help, just no interference. And remember, we move the bone, God does the healing. Go out there and tackle the world with reckless abandon, and know that you know that you know that who you are matters so much to the people who are waiting for you to show up. So take the time, pause, figure out what it is you want, sharpen that axe, and when you're ready to get back, and maybe you're already there, but when you're ready to really get back and create the new normal, create it in a way that's going to lead you to the future you truly deserve. Ladies and gentlemen who've been watching us, I thank you so much for joining this wonderful show, Empowering Women in Chiropractic, and I thank you so much for what you do every day in your neck of the woods. I look forward to seeing you sometime soon, where I can give you a real hug, big arms around you, and say, I missed you, I can't wait to hug you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care, buddy.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.